we started experimenting. Can we come up with a wheelchair which can traverse these harsh Indian conditions, these curbs, this uneven terrain?
Right.
And I built, I think, about 5 prototypes and this I had to show as my graduation project.
Right.
And we had some bare bones of something interesting happening.
Okay.
So we came up with this 3-wheeled architecture where, generally a normal wheelchair, the bigger wheels are behind, the smaller wheels are in the front, right?
Yeah.
That you cannot go on a curb because the smaller wheel is and also these 4-wheel wheelchairs have a tendency to get stuck. They form this tripod. If there's a pothole, they'll just get stuck there and they'll lose traction. So we came up with this new architecture where the bigger wheels are in the front and they are powered.
Okay.
And you have the smaller wheels behind, so they would actually go on listening. We just had these bare bones of this thing. I presented this to the jury. They really loved the work and they said, please pursue this. Don't go to a conventional job.
Right.
So I took that, and again the next 1 year we built 16 prototypes and we started taking this 3-wheeled architecture seriously. We built a wheelchair that is 70% from bicycle parts. It was actually developed in a small shed in Goregaon and a small cycle shop adjacent to that. It was completely built there.
Oh wow.
And it could climb gradients as high as 30 degrees, having people weighing 100 kgs.
30 degrees?
30 degrees. We tested it on a slope in Bandra, where it was ridiculous, and it could still go up and come down.
That's amazing. I mean, 16 prototypes in 1 year, right? That's what you mentioned.
Yeah.
That's like a lot of iterations.
Lot of iterations.
Going back, feedback, going back. That loop is like pretty strong here that you've seen. And how did you manage to test it out? That would have been challenging?
It was. So we would do testing, but this 3-wheel architecture is very, very, very difficult to handle. So it had like a free rolling caster behind, and it had some interesting challenges. It would never go in a straight line.
Wow. That's a big challenge.
So we had these tiles and we had physiotherapists who would come and test, and they said कि wheelchair अच्छा है, but मैं देख रहा हूँ कि ये सीधा नहीं जा रहा है. And I came back and I told this to my founder. We were the founders, and he just
panicked.
He said कि क्या करे? Well, don't worry, we'll figure it out. So then my future co-founders, I asked them for help. I called Vidyadhar, and he came and worked for 1.5 months on this. So we solved a couple of problems in that. I think we were able to get like a caster bias. So basically the caster doesn't roam freely. We got some bias.
Right.
And Vidyadhar came up with a novel way of folding actually. He came up with this mechanism by which you can put it in an auto rickshaw also.
Oh wow.
Yeah, very compact.
Very nice.
And also during this time, I told you, right, we were working on this with workshop and cycle.
Yeah.
There again we had this interaction with geniuses who are not educated. People who are so hands-on, they would come up with these solutions. If I had given this to an engineer, he would struggle. Like for example, this caster bias mechanism, it did not make it to the final design, which we went into production, but we came up with this mechanism which is bearing based. I went and discussed with him. He said, I have some ideas, but let us wait. There's one more guy who will come. So we met with another guy who came. We had a discussion. And I kid you not, he gave me the solution in 5 minutes. He drew the sketch and he said, this is what you need to do.
Oh, wow.
And I was just blown away.
Wow.
I'm like, wow, again, I don't know anything actually. So this guy in the workshop, he's a guy named Singh, not formally educated. He came to Bombay when he was 16 years old, where typically, and he started working in a welding shop. He is one of the most geniuses I've met. He would come up with a mechanism very quickly. And you know what his speciality was? You send him a photograph, he'll replicate that design in a span of 1 to 2 days.
That's insane.
And that's how their whole business would run.
Yeah.
So this guy was a specialist in fabricating wheelchairs to a local business guy.
Right.
So the business guy would go to tours around the world, click photos and send to him. He would reverse engineer all of them just from a photograph.
That is insane.
So interestingly, I took my Watson kids there. I made him. I made sure that they interacted with him.
Right.
And to understand that real genius is not in IITs. It's in places like these.
Right. The local knowledge.
Yes, insane guys.
Yeah.
Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. I have a couple of things to tell you today. So one, DesignX Studio has launched its own Telegram channel. It's called Introduction to Design. In that community, you can find a lot of free resources, daily quizzes that we will be posting, and questions that you can solve every single day. And there'll be doubt solving and a lot of free live sessions where I will take on various topics, and I'll explain that from the basic to a very advanced level. So do join the community so that you can benefit from all of this. And the second thing is again titled Introduction to Design, which is the book that I have launched recently. and it is now available for pre-order. This basically talks about the mindset that is required for you to start your journey in design, and also this features a lot of exercises that will help you to build those behavioral abilities that the design entrance exams look for. I'll leave these two links in the description below, and that's it for today. Thank you.